Scotty.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thanks for coming on. Now,
My
you've got a
absolute
bit of a story to tell, Scotty Page. Now, everyone will know Scotty because he's been on a fair few times. And again, we do call Scotty the mad scientist. So, and for good reason too, just quietly. But in a good way though, in a good way. So, yeah, we love our Scotty Page, and we love the mad scientist that he is. I'm going to hand it over to CJ for his acknowledgement of the country, and then we'll come back and have a yarn, brother.
Right.
Fire away, CJ. CJ.
oh, there you are, mate. Just came on. I didn't hear that last bit, brother. What'd you say?
I'll hand it over to CJ for his special acknowledgement that he does every week.
Oh, righto. All right, good. I'm in Wynnum at the moment, so probably Quandamooka country, really, when you think about the proximity of North Stradbroke Island and Moreton Island. So probably Quandamooka country. So a shout out to Turrbal people, but no, also this side of the bridge, I guess. We're talking about the younger people, but also the I'm trying to think now. Geez, it's been a while. How can I forget? Yugenbar, I think, people from over in Strady. No,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
down your way. That's
No,
your way, isn't it?
you can bear.
Yugen Bear, that's it, down your way. Or well,
Yeah,
down.
that's Gold Coast.
Yeah, no, New Knuckle people, I
No,
know.
no.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the mob. Yeah, how could I forget? Jeez, I hope they're not watching. I'll be.
You're in trouble, brother. You're in trouble.
I'll need. Yeah, I know. I need a special pass to get on the island.
You ain't get on, mate.
So look, I pay my respects to the people of this particular country. I know that, and wherever you guys are coming from, I also want to pay my respects to my country up in Cairns, Gimoy, Yirinji people, as well as Barical people from up in Torres Straits, as well as you know, JB, our elders, and Scotty, our elders, who have led the way for us to be where we are today. So over to you, JB.
Beautifully said, brother, as per normal. I too just want to acknowledge all the traditional custodians, wherever we work, meet, and play, and just pay the utmost respects to all our old people, our ancestors, and whoever's played a part in getting us where we are today, and thank them. And we are so grateful for that as well. I also want to just acknowledge my mob, the Muddy Muddy people down there in southwestern New South Wales, and just pay the utmost respect to all our old people and ancestors as well. And we're on our way home at the moment, so we're in Goomeri, and I'm not sure who the traditional custodians are here. So that's bad for me because I haven't. We only just got here, so I'm going to stick with that and just apologise for not knowing. But yeah,
Might be Gubby, I think.
Well, it might be Gubby Gubby. Yeah, they're pretty big mob Gubby Gubby, so it could be. But I'm sure someone can tell us. But I do apologise for not. But we've only just got here, set up, and
it's a big country. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They are a big mob, the Gubby Gubby, so it could very well be them. So I just want to hand it over to our very special guest tonight, Scotty Page, the mad scientist, as we used to call him when he was training us for our all our running work and my running buddy for the 24-hour challenge, Move for Middenbar challenge. So over to you, brother, and you've got a very exciting story to tell at the moment. So let's go for it, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for the intro, JB. Yeah, how can I say this? Let's start from right now and then work our way back. It's probably the best way to go. Back to Move for Middenbar is probably a milestone, personal milestone, but also a collective milestone for us three and for a lot of other people as well. So we're flying high back then, which I'm flying high now, but in a different way. Proud to say I'm about 2 weeks short of being 6 months sober. Uh, yeah, so it's been a long and interesting journey with alcohol and substance. And yeah, I come off the back of if we go back to Move for Middenbar and the processes and the reasons and the whys that I did it and we did it and the reasons we did it for other people and you know other reasons other than our own was the most amazing experience. But off the back of that, I was probably at the end of I was probably going through some changes. Definitely changes in marital status. Definitely changes I guess in age and evolution of myself. And I didn't handle those changes very well. So I hit the drink, and I hit the drink pretty hard. And it was a great, I'm not going to say thanks to alcohol. It was a great, I guess, a painkiller. It fast tracked. It fast tracked, I guess, from a pretty stressful day into a relaxed evening. And of course, all the other side effects that come along with my journey. Started to rear their heads, poor choices, bad decisions, losing friendships, losing my interest in I guess in training and health and eating properly and all that. So back in November, I decided to look. I went DUI. I was down in Byron Bay, and yeah, I blew mid range. I'd had two car accidents, which I got away with prior to that. So there was some big stuff, some real warning signs happening.
Mm.
So I went DUI, and the loved ones around me were trying to get me to seek, I guess, radical intervention. So I took, along with the guidance, I was sort of dragged to the front door, but I went 28 days into a program. And I'm proud to say that the day before I went in the program was the last day that I had a drink. Uh, yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was day two, I think, or day three in there. I turned to one of the counsellors and I said, I've just realised I'm actually not in here for addiction. I'm actually in here for personal growth. And then from that moment on, I realised that, I was changing and I had a thirst for knowledge and to find out the real me again. Um, so I was really a degree in life, a degree on my life for the next 28 days. And yeah, I haven't looked back.
Mm.
Yeah. So here I am today. I'm back running. I'm back swimming. Not big distances like I used to, but thoroughly enjoying it. And put the mad scientist hat back on, and I'm sharing knowledge with my beautiful partner. And she's got 3 races coming up. So she's got a race in 2 weeks. And she's got a
Ooh.
half marathon in August and then a marathon next year. So yeah, I've still got my finger in the pie that way. And Jack and I have had a couple of conversations of late, and it's just I think for me it's about reconnecting with those good humans um,
Mm.
moving forward. And yeah, I've got a new career. Uh, Another thing, I was actually driving the car the other day and on the ABC radio. They said, "Oh, we've got a careers advisor." It was ABC Brisbane. I was, Sunday. I was on the Gold Coast. They said, "Oh, we've got a career advisor here. Is there anyone out there that over the age of 50 that's had a massive career change?" Well, I slammed the car, brakes on the car, and I rang the switchboard and got on my phone straight away. I've been in business for 17 years. Had many staff in the hospitality industry. Now I'm in a warehouse receiving adventure products for an amazing adventure company I've had a lot to do with in a different way over the years, and I absolutely love my job. So yeah, so big changes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, Scotty, we want to hear a little bit about like the moment you went into rehab. I mean, I had a couple of conversations with you while you were in there, and we had some good yarns and some really deep conversations. What was it like in there? So just for others out there, because we all do a little bit of work with people that might be going into rehab or probably need to go into rehab, to be honest. And
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah, just tell us a little bit about that journey, brother.
Look, it was. I went in there with obviously. Actually, I'm proud to say because you blow in the bag when you first get in there, and I blew zero. And they said not many people do blow zero at 8 o'clock in the morning. I went, whoa, okay. And they get you in there. Look, they get you in there and on Western medicine, if that makes sense. So they get you in there and I mean, obviously we all know the side effects of alcohol withdrawal. So in community, in this type of rehab, they can administer a certain amount of, drugs to enable you to not have a seizure.
Yeah, sure.
But the minute that,
Mm.
like, that's usually a week. So they get you on that Western philosophy or Western medicine. But for me, after that, it was total Eastern old school philosophy
Yeah,
that
beautiful.
was offered to you.
Mm.
So meditation, yoga, um, that old ashram style, the ashram, which is the
Yeah,
Indian style. Um,
Mm.
I guess the way the ashrams work is, they really bring you in and look after you. And I came out the other side just with so many tools in my pocket of knowledge about myself.
Mm.
It's frightening. It's frightening to get to the front door. It's frightening to make that step. But I honestly believe if you go there and for me it was how do I say this? I guess it's all personalised, but I met a lot of people in there that were on their own journey, and then collectively we would come together, we'd all dine together, and then you'd go off into your own space, and then you would go to the group classes, then you'd have one-on-one classes. So for me, it was an amazing experience,
Mm.
and as I said, I had a thirst for knowledge, and I got some answers. I got some questions that I brought out with me as well.
Mm. Yeah, that's so good, Scotty. And yeah, I was just thinking about, you said it was a bit frightening going in there at that time. So some of those feelings, I suppose, that you had before, the day before or whatever about getting, um, and I would imagine that at some stage you started to take some responsibility for where you're at.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if you can break it down to one sense, I think you know, we all wear
Mm.
masks in
Mm.
life, and I think for me, and I think a lot of other people, there's a reason we whack a bit of substance into us is to mask up,
Mm.
and I really learned in there to sit with a lot of stuff, sit with stuff, write it out, and meet the real me, you know.
Mm.
So that takes time. I mean, there were people in there, that was sort of, I guess that there was a 14-day option, but I said, no way, I want to do the max, the 28 days. And, I had commitments outside of, outside I was dealing with, winding up a business. I was director of a company that, I still had bills to pay and accountants to, but I just phoned them all and said, just put everything on hold for 28 days.
Mm.
Um, three beautiful daughters, who all knew that I was going into rehab. My partner, one of the hardest days was there were two gentlemen that came and picked me up from the door to take me to rehab and to say goodbye to them for 28 days.
Mm.
That's pretty tough. And that's just my story.
Mm.
Everyone's story is unique, but very valid. However, that looks to go to rehab, you know, very,
Yeah.
very valid. Um,
No, it is, mate.
so
It's
yeah,
you've come through a pretty hard time, especially from that move from Mimbar to probably
yeah,
just after. I would imagine it's. I don't know many people who would be able to deal with that all of that stuff going on in their life. So
yeah.
without them being affected in some way, we're only human,
It,
and that's what happens.
we are only
Mm.
human, and there was one point in there where I had some really amazing counselors that were amazing, you know,
Mm.
and each of them were varied personalities, and he tended to gravitate towards, I guess, for me, I tended to gravitate towards two styles of people. One was a commando, so a fitness guy, and another guy, funny enough, was really into meditation and guitar and cooking. He was the chef, and he gravitated towards that. Um, the commander said to me once, he said, "Look, late on the line, he actually he put me through a fitness test, and then absolutely smacked me, which was great. And then he interrogated me afterwards, and it was a full-on interrogation. And then afterwards, he sat down with me and he said, all the things that I'd mentioned about the whys, I guess, why alcohol, I started to take snouts of alcohol heavily, was because of this, this, and this, and this. And he said to me, he just looked at me, didn't look down at me, and he said, they're life moments. They are life moments. And the guy across the road is having those life moments as well. Everyone's going to handle them differently. What happens when mum passes away? That's your next life moment. Or what happens when this, or what happens? You're going to hit the drink again. He said, you've got to be able to sit with it rather than band-aid it. And I thought, mate, you're bang on, you know. Alcohol had its place. It did. It was a good painkiller, but unfortunately, the side effects, it was. I got to a point where, and I was, I'll be honest, I was a very fit person. Midland bar, but prior to that, a couple of Ironman distance triathlons. My pet event was 100-kilometre trail races. I ran 186K in the bush over 7 days, following an old Aboriginal pathway of shoving my fellas back in the day. Stuff like that. So I was a pretty fit dude. Well, that ended up being, to answer an email from the ATO, I was making a quarter of a bottle of vodka, and there was nothing for me to drink a bottle of vodka a day when it got to extremes. Um, and yeah, poor decision making,
Yeah.
poor life choices, all those sort of things were the byproduct of me drinking that bottle of vodka.
Can,
So
can I
yeah,
just, can I just say too? Um, yeah, I caught up probably last time I seen Scotty. I can't remember the date or anything like that, but we caught up with Scotty. He was still in he's still in his cafe, and we went in, and we Lisa, LB, and I went in and sat down as we normally do with Scotty. Have coffee, have a meal, and all that sort of stuff. But I left shattered, to be honest, because my great mate, my brother, was just a shell of his great former self. And I tell you right now, I broke down in the car park after seeing Scotty. So, and then we had it was and I don't know how long before you went into rehab or whatever, brother, but it was something that was like, and we um, we work with people, like this all the time, but to see someone that I suppose is a real hero of yours, and to see what happened, um, you know, since we left the Gold Coast, and then to catch up with you there. I mean, I was shattered, to be honest, and I was just hoping and Albert and I were both talking, and we were thinking, how can we help Scotty? But then it's that whole thing, what you said before, CJ, about taking responsibility, and that's what happened, and that was the defining moment for Scotty Page when he went into rehab. And it's like, as I said, we work with people all the time around with this sort of thing, but to see your brother that you've been through so much with, in that world of hurt, that's what it was. And for me, that was You talk about life-changing moments, defining moments. I had one there when I was in that car park, and yeah, I was shattered. So yeah, so
Mm,
thank you, brother, for taking
yep.
responsibility. Because I also remember last time you were on here, um, yeah, it was a bit
Yeah.
of a train wreck, brother. So and
Yeah,
I
I
look,
know we can be honest with you, so.
yeah,
I
yeah.
totally, and
Yeah, but
sorry
but I
to
think
interrupt.
also, but I see JB and Scotty. That was the first time as well for me. And when I saw you, come on online, and I thought, wow, this is so brave of this bloke to do this. He's really looking like he's needing some help. What can we do? JB, we both sort of thought, well, what can we
Yeah,
say? What can we do to help influence this guy to get some help or
sure.
whatever? But
Yeah,
yeah,
I,
mate.
I,
But I'm so happy. Looking at you now, brother, is when it's like pre movement bar, move from movement bar. You
oh,
know what
that's
I mean?
awesome. That's lovely to
Yeah,
hear because I hold you and the whole community in very, very high regard. And you
mm,
know, you look backwards, understand you can't change the past. And
that's right.
that night I remember I got in my car for some privacy, and I drove down to the park down here to talk to you guys. And I hung up because I was embarrassed. I knew that I wasn't in a state to talk to you, And Jack and I have never spoken about this. Um, and that's just a truly testing your character, Jack, that you've got the respect still of me. That you didn't have to have that conversation with me. So I'm very grateful for that. Um, it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's
brother,
lesson learned, lesson learned. Learn the
this
lesson.
is a great story, brother. This is something that everyone can learn a little bit from. This is something that is amazing. You're now
Yeah,
6 months. And I remember talking to you, and it wasn't about going in to give up the drink, but it was a
No,
change of lifestyle. So, but
100%, hundred
but
percent.
the
I
biggest,
wanted to come out with more resets in my
yeah,
life and more things that I really, really wanted to do for personal growth than
mm,
to go. I didn't want to come out being that white knuckle. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink because oh my god, you would hide away and you wouldn't contribute to community or anything. I didn't want to be. I wanted to go deeper than that, because that would have just been another band.
mm,
So yeah, so I said yes to everything in rehab. That's another thing. Yes to everything because they can they'll leave you in the room if you want, or they'll whatever you want. You want more Valium or what? Yeah, go for it, whatever. But I just said yes to everything. I picked everything up and gave them a little shake. And out of that, at the age of 55, I'm 4 months, 5 months into seriously playing the guitar.
cool.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Uh, don't get me to sing, but I can put 3 or 4 chords together.
Yeah.
that's all you need, brother.
100%, and that's exactly right. 100%. EAG, Um, but also too, I think there was a realization for me now. I was changing. Like, take everything away, take life moments away, take all that sort of stuff. I was actually changing myself, and I was scared. I didn't know how to dip the toes and how to change. I had 10 years of being the adventurer and doing ultra marathons and everything, and I loved it. But I really thought the epitome for me was $100. And then along comes Jack and comes up with this 24-hour, and together it was like this, it was awesome. And at the end of it, I've really achieved what I want to achieve,
Mm,
but I didn't, for me, I didn't know how to, I, I was changing, but I was screaming with that change. And, yeah, and like, yeah, I've evolved, and I still love to run, but I run. I was telling Jack the other day, he probably thinks I'm mad, but I run with no technology. I run with no GPS.
Yeah.
I really get into the spirit of it for me. I'm getting very spiritual in the fact that I'm day 23 of a 30-day challenge of yin yoga. Like every morning on YouTube, I've got this. Yeah, so yin yoga is my thing. Um, so it's. I think we're all chasing
Mm.
whatever makes you feel in the now, right?
Yeah.
Whatever makes you feel present. I think that's for me. That's what it's always been. Running gave that for me, and it still does. But I don't need to run big distance now.
So,
You know,
can I just ask you a question? So when you were in rehab and you're like it would have been a tough journey. Um, Now, what are some of the things that you did to be able to ground yourself and bring you back to where you needed to be?
um, like physical things like learning new tricks.
Whatever you did, brother,
Yeah,
whatever, like whether it
yeah,
be mental or physical or
yeah. Look, I've always read books, but a lot of non-fiction stuff and a lot of stuff that really interested me. I wanted to crack that imaginary, like that inner child mind out. So I read fiction, so fiction books, and I think I just completed a book yesterday, so that's 6 or 7 books since rehab as well, all fiction. So that's sort of that imaginary thing. I wanted to really uh, delve into sound healing. So there was sound healing on offer there. Incredible experience, absolutely incredible. Tearjerker for me. Um, and obviously meditation, so meditation, that yoga, um, and just sitting in silence. Just sitting in silence. Uh,
Mm.
be it 15 minutes a day, whatever. Just be learning to be happy with that silence. Journaling, stuff like that. Just all the stuff that we know we should do, but we don't. Well, now
We
that's a
don't.
daily practice for me. And ice baths, I love them. And
Mm.
I'm blessed where I live here. We've got a gym and a complex here, um, and they have a sauna, and I have a sauna 4 or 5 times a week.
yeah, beautiful.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
on a hot day, I was walking there the other day. I had to laugh. My neighbour said, "Oh, where are you up to for a swim?" I said, "I'm going for a sauna." She goes, "What, isn't it hot enough for you outside?" I said, "You're missing the point. It's 20 minutes of shower. You're missing the point."
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not
Yeah.
about the heat, but it is, but it isn't.
It isn't. Yeah, that's
Um,
right, mate. Yeah.
yeah,
No, mate.
so
I think that
yeah,
just knowing you, Scotty, and from what JB tells me about you as well, you really set out to accomplish things beforehand. We're talking about back before all this happened. So you definitely, once you got back into that zone about doing something, that was going to help you, get through what you've been going through, and really interesting that that kind of desire to you know to reach the goal, if you like. You know what I mean? Been built in you. That's what helped
yeah,
you.
I think CJ to reach the goal was really appetizing and really
Mm,
got you um, doing the journey and programming and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes, when I was the former Scotty would miss a little bit of the journey.
mm,
Would not appreciate would appreciate the journey because of the carrot. But
mm.
I think now I have realized the inner part of me. It's actually the journey for me. I've
The
got to that
journey
point,
is.
and
Yeah.
there's been books written about it. It's obvious, but until you until you're at that point in your journey in life, like I honestly believe I've awakened a little bit
Mm,
awakened to it. I really do. Um,
mm.
and once I start asking those questions about myself, then the answers come, or just let it happen. And yeah, been a complete
And,
Yeah.
change.
and Scotty, I mean, you'll be able to tell everyone that's watching, you know, no one else can do it for you, can they? Like you
No.
can have all the support and love that you need, and because I know how many people reached out to me when you were going through this, brother, and it was that thing. We can be there for him, but we can't do it.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
it's what about
Mm.
what CJ said before around taking responsibility. And when you take responsibility, then you're able to take the time to make the correct choices and
Yes.
also make that beautiful change that you've made, brother.
Mm.
Um, One of the counselors said to me in there, and this really resonated with me, but with anyone that, and people have come and had a chat with me about it. We're talking. You only got a problem when you realize it yourself, right? Okay, so one of the things that they said to me in there said, "Is this your last time you're going to come to rehab?" Now, it's a really strong question because you
Mm.
don't know, but you think you know. And I said, "Well, look, I guess I'm at my age, and I've got a lot of stuff going on out there that I'm needed for 28 days is enough." And they just said, "Have you lost enough yet?"
Mm.
So, that's a very, very good question to take responsibility of.
Yeah.
Is anyone, have you lost enough yet? Have you lost enough friends? Have you lost enough of your family? Have you lost enough dignity? Have you lost enough confidence? Have you lost enough? You know, once if you say yes to that, then that's taking responsibility, and that's the first step.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah, I really, there's it's like it's a reset for you, as you mentioned earlier. It's a reset after reset. But it's all about, taking that responsibility, knowing that you can't go any further. You can't keep going what you're doing because you
No,
might not have lost enough yet, and you don't want to lose any
no,
more. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's kind of like, yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
It's,
Um,
it's also that thing around, like when we talk about it a fair bit. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to be able to come back.
Mm.
And again, I mean, some people don't make it back. So congratulations, brother. I mean, I think it's just an amazing, amazing journey that you've embarked yourself on. And I just think it's amazing, and I think it's such a beautiful story. That's why we wanted to get you back on to share that because it's amazing, brother.
Yeah.
Look, thank you, and there's so many people, like yourself, JB, and Lisa, and my mum, and my beautiful partner Megan, and my three daughters, and my brother Josh in Tasmania, and there's just all friends and my business, and there's just so many people to thank. But at the end of the day, as my mum said, no one's got to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah, it's and you know what? I can only talk from my personal experience. Once that's the hardest decision to make is to go, yes, I'm going to change. Uh, After that, with the right resources, with the resources around you in the right environment, you give yourself every chance. You really do.
Mm.
And you actually enjoy the journey. It's not this white knuckle, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Mm.
The journey is really, really, for me, it's every day is just exciting. Every minute is really exciting. I feel like it's the second part of Scotty Page's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, it's good,
um,
mate. And um, you've been a role model, most of your life, mate. Everyone looks up to you. Everyone knows who you are, who Sorty Page is. Now, what you've gone through has even bolstered that, if you like. You're more of a role model nowadays because you've actually um, were affected by something and you've done something to fix it up. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, if he can do it, I can do it. To those who are addicted, or are having some problems, you
yeah,
can go ahead go and see someone about it and make a decision about what you want to do.
Yeah.
But
Look,
it's all that.
all
You go,
yeah,
brother.
all I can do is offer to your community, and if anyone wants to reach out to me, all I can do is share my journey. Everyone's journey is unique. Everyone's journey is extremely valid, but there are certain things that are probably constant. And the one thing is, as JB said, is taking responsibility, and taking responsibility is taking action. It really is.
Mm.
That is action. Um, but identifying that, you know, uh, you do have a problem. Hey, alcohol's a social. You know, I can only talk from alcohol. Yeah, cocaine, whatever. But the alcohol is, you know, it's such a social thing. But you know, not everyone, me included, uh,
Yeah, but
you could,
but
yeah,
brother, that's also testament to your strength, your resilience, and what you're able to put into, coming back from what was a really low time in your life. And I remember, like Albie and myself talking to people, and we said, Scotty's got the strength to do it. He's got the wisdom to do it as well, but he's also got the resilience. So we just have to wait for him
yeah,
to be able to make that decision and take that responsibility. And wow, mate, there's no one um, happier than what we are for you and what you've been able to achieve. So
Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful. You know, I'm very grateful, and I'm very grateful that we still have a friendship. You know, I've ripped all the masks off. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's no more masks. It's just me in its raw form, and you know, my changing career. I don't no longer have to go on stage. You know, and I guess be someone that I don't particularly want to be these days, and so that I can get on with keeping on, and that is just to personally grow. You know.
Yeah.
Um, and surround myself with great people. You know, Jack and I had a great conversation. I nearly done a trail run on. I was a bit jelly actually. I nearly done a trail run on Sunday, wasn't mate? I was
yeah,
a what day was it? Because it pinged my phone. I don't have a lot of tech these days, but when Jack does a run, I get a ping on my phone from mad science. Anyway, look at me, I'm getting excited.
yeah.
Anyway, I rang him straight away, and he answered straight away. I said, "Did you just do a trail run?" And he said, "Yeah, bro." I said, "Did you just do a run?" He goes, "Yeah, a trail run." And I felt like I was there, JB.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, for me, like if I go into that sort of space, and I know I speak for LB as well, but the trail runs that we used to do with Scotty were the magic ones. So
Incredible,
like
incredible.
being in country, and like we also had a yarn about um, in the lead up to the move to Middenberg 24-hour challenge, where we were running at all different times of the day, night, and we
Yeah,
talked about it being like a full time job because it really was.
it
And
was.
we spoke about a couple of our trail runs, and one of them was the border trail that we did, and it was I think it was 12 midnight to 3 a.m. or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And like to me, that was amazing to be able
It
to
was
do
off
that.
the, but it was off the back of a main meal, wasn't it? So we had a steak or we had something to eat at home, and then got ready to go and run because
Let's
really
go.
that was imitating what we're going to have to do for 24 hours. We're going to have to eat real food and run
Yeah.
on full stomach, and you know,
Yeah.
and I think it was a Friday night too, JB, and like
Was
all
it?
those things were against us. Like everyone else is relaxed, they finished their week, and we're out, you know, at this border track between Queensland and New South Wales, and oh yeah, it was great. Yeah,
Yeah,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
two of us. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good.
and
Great memories.
it seriously was amazing. Like, um,
Yeah,
and I know
it
people
was.
go, "Oh, you're frigging mad," like, what are you doing? Like seriously, seriously rewarding, and you feel great. You feel gratitude for the nature, just what you're standing in, what you're running in,
You
and
do.
another great one for me, and I'll take Scotty's mind back. It was called the Pinnacles, I think it was.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was that was incredible, mate. That day, wasn't it? Remember, we snuck. We found it. Well, we knew there was a secret trail there, and off the Warrior Circuit up in Springbrook there, and there's a
Mm.
fallen log. If you step over the log, there's this secret track, and oh man, it was a needle,
It,
wasn't
and
it,
it's
mate? It was a needle, like you had to straddle this rock 100 foot either side to get to the peak, and yeah,
Oh shit.
and like I just have to say that it seriously was a secret track because between us running, we got mislaid a couple of times, so
I
we were
know,
actually thinking, shit, which way we're going and all this sort of
yeah,
stuff. But everyone had trust in each other to be able to get there, and there was leeches everywhere, so you were covered in leeches and all these sort of things. But to reach this, what was called the pinnacles,
yes,
um, and and you seriously have to be mad to climb it anyway. These pinnacles because they're all rocks, and you look down either side, and you fall 200 feet.
Mm.
Um, and I remember like Scotty and a couple of others. I think Jade was one of them. They were up, first ones up,
oh,
and um, yeah. And I got there, and I'm going. I'm not doing it because I'm not. I don't want to fall. I don't want to fall
You want to
down.
die?
Yeah. And I said I'm not doing it. But um, Joe Rodway, who like an amazing athlete in itself. She actually talked me through it. She actually
Yes.
helped me up. She actually, you know, lifted, my feet and helped me get up to so that I could go up and do it. I mean, I guess why I'm telling this is it's just amazing stuff that you got to do with Scotty Page and the crew back then.
Mm.
It was amazing stuff for me. It
I
was
think there's a good
learning
metaphor
the
for life there. You surround we all know that you surround yourself with a group of people and have the trust in each other's strength that they bring to the table or whatever,
Mm.
and you hum, don't you?
Mate,
and,
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned metaphor there because what you're talking about and what we've been talking about, your recovery and stuff. When you think about it and compare it to a marathon, what you normally go through, this marathon would have been the one that you've just been through must have been the hardest one you've ever had to do,
Yeah,
and got through it
yeah,
because
yeah,
you have all the highs and lows. Yeah,
yeah. You do. You have all the highs and lows, and look, there's you come out like it's so I guess a century, if you like, in rehab
mm,
towards the back end of it because you actually really, you're readying yourself to get back out into society. Um,
yeah,
but then there's that, ugh, when you get out and you go, well, for me it was grog, and grog's available at every bloody,
oh,
so you drive past 3 or 4 bottle shops, etc., etc. Um, so that in itself, I guess, the finish line is not for me. It wasn't as
no,
at the end of rehab. That was kind of, I guess, that was kind of another start line, if you like.
yeah,
But I can tell you now, like yeah,
yeah.
I'll be
But any time
surprised.
during a marathon, you could give up.
Oh
I've had
yeah,
enough. I'm going to stop. I'm
totally,
going to stop. Going to
totally.
stop. But you keep going, mate. That's the thing, and
Keep
that's
going.
basically, you're not finished your marathon yet, if you like.
No,
But
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. There's two sayings I used to say, like left foot, right foot, repeat,
yeah,
and you eat the elephant one bite at a time.
yeah,
Like no matter how big the elephant is, you only got to take one chunk off. So it's,
yeah,
yeah,
can
exactly.
I just say too, like, I was excited by Scotty's journey, through rehab, and I look forward to, like, because Scotty would ring when he could, and we'd have great yarns, like they were seriously deep and meaningful
Yeah,
yarns, and I look forward to those because it was such a pleasure to be part of that, you know what I mean, and be able
mm,
to hear what he was going through, and yeah, there was some real lows, but there was so many highs as well, and it was just an amazing journey. So
mm, yeah,
well, it's yeah for me, it's an amazing journey. And look, if there's any, as I said earlier, obviously if there's anyone out there that's watching tonight or whatever, you know, is ticking about that, then I would be more than happy to, I guess, share my story with them through you guys.
Mm,
You know, as part of the, I guess part of the, yeah, this is where I'm at is talking to you two tonight.
mm,
You know, because you just do the do. You get on with life, and life is amazing. But until you
mm.
stop and you focus and you talk about the journey that I've had to get to. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes
Yeah.
me proud.
Now, what's the next chapter for Scotty Page?
The next chapter. Um, well, I'm my next finish line is on day 23 of the Yin Yoga Challenge. So I've got 30 days of that. I might
Yeah.
have to prepare a song for you. Uh,
Oh, look out! Look out!
He's writing songs too.
I can't wait! I can't wait!
um, look, I am mentoring my beautiful partner Megan, and as I said, she's got a race in 2 weeks. I am so stoked to be mentoring her, and I'm actually geeking out again on the mad sinus stuff. So I've been following some exercise sinus and things like that that I have done over the years just to make sure the pencil's still sharp. And I've actually been doing some of her interval sessions with her, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. So she's got a race in 2 weeks' time. We've got a well, she's got a plan. We've started to, we're 2 weeks out, and then in August, it's very exciting because we're going to the Sunshine Coast, and Megan is running the half marathon.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
she'll prepare. Yeah, so she'll prepare for that. I've got a 14-week program for her to that, and then she turns 42 next year. What better than to run 42K on a 40-second lap around the sun?
Yeah.
So she's going to run the Gold Coast Marathon. So
Oh, great.
as far as I'm concerned, they are as much my, as you know, like it takes a team to get someone to the start line and the finish line. We've got a beautiful Harper's, she's nearly 3 year old. And yeah, so
Wow.
I'm super excited. I just found out her older sister and I used to do this well, we did on a Friday night. At 3 years of age, they can join Little Athletics. So, so in September, her daddy and her are it's be like reliving the middle child because we spent a lot of Friday nights at Little Athletics. So she's going to join Little Athletics.
Oh,
And
wow!
yeah, 3 year old, they're taking. So,
Yeah.
and out of all my three girls, I would say she's the biggest rat bag. So she's got
She,
devil horns like that.
she definitely takes after her old man then.
So yeah, hey, all of those are as much my challenges, JB, as what someone else's. So at the moment, yeah, meditation, guitar, yin yoga, and just keep it fit in between.
Yeah.
Now, I
Yeah.
just want to tell everyone that's watching too. There's something about something special about Scotty, but what this goes back a bit when we were going away for work and we needed someone to look after our house. So Scotty goes, "I'll come and look after the house for you, look after our dogs as they were then, and of course Bella." So we go, "Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic." So we went away, and I think it was for 2 weeks, and we come back, and 15 months later, Scotty was still there.
I know, right? Yeah, incredible. It's just amazing. Oh, here he is again.
No,
Oh,
it was beautiful times. It seriously was. I
Yeah.
mean,
it was
yeah,
15 months, brother. That's
Yeah.
incredible. And you know what? We could really immerse ourselves in the 20th Minbar, couldn't we? We could really immerse
that was
ourselves
the
in
time that it was on as well. So
That's
I
right.
know.
Yeah.
I see this nodding your head. This was LB on more than one occasion at us.
yeah, no, I reckon that we were both lucky that we didn't get kicked out at some stage.
Well, yes, true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Fair enough.
Between
Uh,
LB and Bell Bell.
It was
upset the balance.
Scotty was a really
Yeah,
bad
that's it.
influence. So
Oh, what?
Oh,
No, mate. Yeah, no, it's good to see you, brother. Really good to see you.
mate, really
And
great. And thank you. As I said, I'm very grateful to be invited
yeah,
to share a little bit of, I guess, just to be honest, to crack the heart open and what better place to
yeah,
do it than with you good people. So,
yeah, and I must say, Scotty, you're looking fantastic as well. Best of
yeah,
seen.
mate.
mate, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's cliche, the beauty's from within, but if I'm looking right on the outside too, then thank you. Thank you very much.
Uh,
Just a quickie, I'm wearing a Titans jersey. I'm
yeah.
actually a Bulldog supporter. But
Oh,
the Titans home ground's just actually over here, and we went a couple of Saturday nights ago to watch the Bronx just beat them. The Titans beat Parramatta. They flogged them on the weekends.
yes.
I am a Bulldog supporter, but I must say, I just want to go
They
on
did
record
beat
as saying
Penrith.
that.
They did beat Penrith. That was a good game.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
How the Blue
yeah.
Boys going, mate?
No, don't talk
JB?
about that at the
Oh,
moment.
look.
No. Who they got? They're playing what?
We,
Adelaide, aren't they?
we played Adelaide last week.
Yes.
We
Collingwood.
actually did all right. We did all right. So it was they at least fought it out.
Yeah.
We have got Collingwood this week, so
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
yeah.
well, yeah.
Oh,
I
dear.
Every,
don't like Vossi's chances of lasting the season. So
yeah, yeah.
Okay. What about you,
M,
CJ?
MJ always says if Carlton beats Collingwood, then the whole comp's rigged, she'll say. So, and
oh,
I believe her. I believe it too, but,
come on, MJ. Gee.
yeah, but but I'm got to go up and watch the game in a minute. So I'm a
Oh,
Manly
wow.
supporter. We're playing North
Oh, yeah,
Queensland,
okay.
so
I was just going to ask. Yeah, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
up
awesome.
here. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
But
good.
Don't hold that against him either, Scotty.
yeah,
Being
mate.
a
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
supporter.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Manly and Carlton.
What
What
hope
have you
you
got to love about what have you got to love about me? I don't know.
Scotty, I don't think my choices are too good either, like the Blues and the Rabbitohs. So
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
Right, and the Blues. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
little bit of trivia, Scotty. So
Yes.
the new coach of Titans, my wife
Yes.
taught him at the
Oh,
school
really?
at Copper Valley. Yeah, in Moranbah
Yeah.
years and years ago. Yeah, yeah,
Really? Okay, there
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Josh
So he's
Hanno.
Josh Hanno. I used to work with his dad,
Yeah.
Pat Hanno,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
really interesting
He
young
was
bloke. Really good.
had a very, very solid career too. Like he was a really good
Oh
footballer
yeah.
back in
Well,
the day.
he was with some,
Honest.
how you say, surround yourself by some people that you want to.
Yeah.
So
That's
he's
exactly
been in
right.
that group, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's learned a
Well,
lot. He's learned a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm really happy for him. I'm really happy for the Gold Coast, and I say this really respectfully. I'm not from an AFL background, but you know, rugby league has its place on the Gold Coast. South Tweed, and it's such you know a melting pot for really good talent, and we
Mm,
really do need a national side, to do okay. Um, and
mm,
the Suns is obviously doing very well this year. I know they flew out of the blocks, and they've had I guess they've had their wings clipped a bit, but
yep.
they're playing really well. And the Titans, we need rugby league to still have prominence. You know,
yeah,
Mm,
definitely.
definitely, mate.
she's
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
600,000 people on the Gold Coast and growing, and surrounds. There's room for two national teams. Hopefully, they're
Yeah,
successful.
definitely,
Right?
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
the
What would you call the
Suns have
second
got a
team?
really good coach as
Oh
well.
no, two national, like two codes.
Oh,
The
two
Suns
coach. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
and the
good. Yeah,
Titans.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we got
I
the
think the
Bears
Gold
coming
Coast.
in.
What have we had over the years? We had the Chargers. We've had the oh god,
Crushes.
Crushes, South Queensland
Yeah,
Crushes, and yeah. So we
yeah,
just want this one to continue.
all
yeah.
right, fellas, I've got to love and leave you because I've got to go and cook some dinner. So,
Oh, have you?
yeah, and
Oh, right,
on
eh?
the bus, mate. So,
No worries, mate. I've got to
All
go.
right.
I've got to front seat at the next of the game tonight. So
Yeah,
I'm good.
I bet you.
All right, should be good.
I
Yeah.
bet you.
Good night. Good weather for footy too tonight.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes,
Beautiful.
magic, isn't it? Beautiful
Well,
days. Oh,
Yeah.
unbelievable, mate. Yeah, mate.
All right,
It is so
fellas.
good to see you,
Thanks,
Scotty. You know,
Yeah.
we
thank
both
you,
love you.
gentlemen.
Yeah, a lot of people
Thank
love you,
you,
and
and it's
feel free to
reciprocated,
come on at
mate.
any time you'd
Kudos
like,
to me.
mate. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Come back
Fantastic.
on up yarn. Yeah,
Yep.
we don't plan on going anywhere, do we, CJ? So
No, 6 years, Scotty. 6 years. Oh my God.
6 years
You
we've
said
been
3 years.
Wow.
Oh my God.
6 years.
6 years. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Really appreciate
right.
it. Thanks to everyone
Thanks,
listening.
guys.
Keep on keeping on.
Have a good rest of the week, and love to everyone. Thanks for joining us, Scotty Page. You're an absolute champion. See ya.